Hi everyone, welcome to another session of G9ija TV on the Newsscope. This is our episode 63. Today we'll be talking about the issues that are actually happening in Nigeria. We'll be going straight to Edo State. My name is Tunde and I'll be taking you through the program tonight. One of the things I actually want to talk about, like I said, is the issue that is actually taking place. We've all heard about the story of the Edo State lynching, and I think this is more of government failure in regards to the issue of security. The issue of security in Edo State is such that not just in Edo State, really um, across the country, especially in the northern side of Nigeria, the Middle Belt. We are talking of Kaduna, Southern Kaduna, Borno State, and all. One of the key aspects that we found about it is that people are so scared. These things, there is just so much lawlessness. I wish I can give it a softer landing, something that is not that harsh, but we need to call a spade a spade. Things are really, really getting out of hand. Things needs to be dealt with. Right now, a lot of people actually feel that the government is not really paying, adequate attention to it. They're not really putting that sort of effort. People are not being given assurance. Every now and then we actually hear stories about, okay, well, the government is doing some certain things, in regards to, the security services. If you look at it right, I mean, kudos to the Nigerian military. They are doing everything they can. But this thing is actually more than that. There should be collaborative efforts between the citizens and the military as well, because we've got so much inside, shall I say, fifth column. It's being said, people are bringing, ammunitions from all sorts. We've had all sorts of things in America, for instance, about the US aid, going in under the pretense of trying to help people being neutral, then supplying them, with arms, allegedly. So right now, because of the fear factor, things are beginning to sort of escalate. Unintended, shall I say, unintended outcomes are coming out. They are sort of bearing negative fruits. Take, for instance, let's go straight into um, the website. I just want to bring this up so that we can see exactly what is going on. It's just rather unfortunate that this sort of thing should be happening. So, just want to share this very quickly. We should not be having situations like this. So here we go. Edo State lynching. Police arrest 14 suspects. Actually got this from Naira Land in case you're actually wondering. The Edo State Police Command has condemned the killing of 16 travelers along the Urome Obajana Expressway in Udeni Ifadium Community, Edo State. Forgive my pronunciation. The attack we occurred on March 27, 2025, saw a group of travelers ambushed, lynched, and their truck set ablaze by vigilante members and an enraged mob. According to a statement released by the police public relations officer, CSP Moses Joel Yamu, the victims were among 25 travelers aboard the truck with registration KKF 225XA, which was transporting them from LLA River State. The truck was intercepted by vigilante members at Jerome, who found some of the passengers in possession of locally made Dane guns. The vigilantes reportedly arrested some of the armed travelers, but as the situation escalated, an alarm was raised, labeling the group as suspected kidnappers. This led to a violent attack by members of the community and passerby, resulting in the lynching of 16 travelers and the destruction of the truck. The statement read, while this was ongoing, some vigilante members raised an alarm of them being suspected kidnappers, which led to some members and passerby in the community to attack and lynch 16 of the occupants, while the truck conveying them was equally burnt. Police operatives attached to the Romy division got wind of the incident and swiftly stormed the scene, where 10 of the travelers were rescued. Two of whom sustained various degrees of injuries were rushed to a hospital where they are currently positive responding to treatment. In the course of investigation, 14 suspects have been arrested in connection with the crime, while an emergency meeting was convened with stakeholders and members of the community to address the situation. In the meantime, a unit of police mobile force personnel with other command tactical teams have been deployed to area to forestall breakdown of law and orders, while the Commissioner of Police reiterates the need for peaceful coexistence among various groups and urges residents to remain calm, cooperate with the police as investigation continue. She also cautioned against any form of reprisal attack or unlawful gathering that may further escalate tensions. So, I mean, you could say what the situation is. I mean, there are some pictures there, so I will caution look away if you are very sensitive. So this is the situation that is really on ground right now. You know, this is one of the things that um, I actually want to talk about in regards to how people react where there's a vacuum in security, protections of lives and property. This is the sort of thing that is going to happen. People will after a while, any little things, they'll become paranoid. All they will hear is any little thing. I mean, unfortunately, this from what we found out later that they are actually Fulanese, and they were actually hunters. Well, allegedly. So there was no thorough, should I say, investigation to find out why you're carrying den guns. None of those guys were actually carrying AK-47 or any of the automatic weapons. The what they were carrying, and we can see from the pictures, those are the kind of weapons that are being carried by local hunters. So, but because there have been this issue of security in place for some time, this has been taking place. Because of all the kidnapping, the banditry, and all. So we're having situations where now people are react. They are now reacting. They are now taking laws into their own hands. Because I mean, if you hear some of the stories about the kidnapping, that does not justify what happened to those people. So it's just rather unfortunate. You know, those people, yes, they might be Fulanese, but it does not mean that they do not deserve protection as well. There is always supposed to be equity, protection, equity, in terms of protection for everybody. You're Nigerian and you live in Nigeria, you should actually have that. You should have that security guarantee. It doesn't matter which part of the country or what tribe you belong to. Doesn't matter what part of the country you're in. I know that is the ideal, but I mean, look at what has happened now. There's been a lot of, kidnapping going on, and it's the Fulani people that are being mentioned all the time, rightly or wrongly. And it should not be so. It should not be. But unfortunately, because the issues have not been addressed, this is the sort of thing that we're actually seeing. The reactions of the community in Uromi, of course, they've been suffering quite at the hands of kidnappers and all, who have been operating with impunity. In the north is even worse, where they will tell a whole village very soon if care is not taken. These guys will make announcement to some maybe small cities around there and start telling them start paying us taxes. It's happening in some in the outskirts of towns, in the village area and all that. Those people are at their mercy. If you are a farmer, you are in big trouble. Farmers have been asked to pay protection, so it's all getting out of hand. And there have been allegations of people, powerful personnels, who are actually behind all of this. They've turned it into a huge money spinner where they kidnap people, they're asking for millions, a ridiculous amount of people. Even when you're not even paid, they still kill those people there. So, it's like, it's like, this, I think we can refer to it as, catch 22. You get caught, you get killed. You actually get caught, you pay the ransom, you still get killed. So what's the point? What are the security? I'm not blaming the security now. I just feel that the government is our government is not really putting a lot of power. They are not making this a priority enough. I know they are making some effort, but it's not enough. We're not feeling the impact of the seriousness. You want to declare a state of security, of state of emergency. This is the sort of thing that we should do. If you want to have state of emergency across the country, please do. So that we need this needs to be forestalled. People are going through a lot of economic pressure. Then why? Then on top of that, they are having to go through this. I mean, if this is not handled properly, things can so escalate that you now find out that communities are actually fighting against each other. That is what we've actually seen in this in Edo State now. That these people are being, lynched. So then there's a follow up story on this. I think I should just put that one up now. The follow up on this is the Fulanis are set to be protesting. Quite frankly, I've never heard of Fulanis actually protesting in the country. This is one of those rare times, and rightly so. Their kinmen are being killed who are hunters, who are actually said to be hunters. They didn't find them with, with automatic weapon. I'm not saying that local weapons are not being used as well, but these guys were just coming in. It was daytime and everything. At least the vigilante should have actually have okay, fine. They should have stopped them, which I think they actually did. But there are ways of dealing with this situation that did not actually need to escalate to the point whereby you're like, hey, you are Fulanis. Hey, you've actually got, Dane guns. Ah, you must be a kidnapper. They could have just handed them over, detain them, call the police to investigate, and be assured, none of this would have happened. But like I said, right, the government, I'm laying this at the door of the government. And when we're talking about it, I'm talking of the federal government, and I'm talking of the state government, because there are measures. The governors of each state in Nigeria are they are the chief architect or the chief architect of security. They are the custodian of security in their states. There are frameworks that could have been security frameworks that could have been put in place to check and balance. So they are able to see if there should be a collaboration, like I said, between the citizen, within the citizen, and the Nigerian police or the Nigerian army. So that way, we can forestall things. This stuff can be dealt with, but unfortunately, that is not happening. The government is. I get the feeling that the government feel there are more important things. There is no viable economic, economic uh, growth that can be achieved where there's insecurity. What is the point? How is that going to happen? Farmers can't go anywhere safely. I know of people right now, they won't travel across if they want to travel across the country, the only thing they will actually do traveling across the country is just one thing. And all they will simply do is to make sure that they will travel by air. They will never ever travel by road. People that travel by road now, it's like you are playing, when you play Ludo or you are throwing dice. It's a bit like people are, you are playing the Russian roulette. You're taking chances because you don't really know exactly what's going to happen. Part of the negativity, that can actually bounce back is what we actually saw in Edo State. You know, it's happening everywhere. It's just unfortunate that we're actually seeing this right now. It's a terrible thing. It's really bad. It's really bad. So look, I know the president is trying. I've got someone here. Ocean ambassador said, I think the Mr. P is trying. Well, he's trying, but right now we need more than trying. We need strategic thinking. We need strategic thinking. If not, things are going to actually, God forbid, things will blow up in our face. Everybody, every Nigerian needs to actually be on this. They need to be on this game. We can't. There's so much happening in the country that I think, there's economic pressure. And I'm talking of like we've not seen in a long time. We've never been, Nigeria's never been in this situation before. Banditry, kidnapping, terrorists, all over everything. And we are going around as if everything is normal. No, it is not normal. It is not normal. It's a crazy situation. And this is the kind of thing that the president needs to actually put in, should I say, security, should I say, uh, um, what's the word I can use for this now? I think I will use the word to declare a state of emergency. We should, so that we can all be sensitive to this. How are investors going to come into the country? We might try and pretend like nothing is happening, like, oh, it's just the usual. No, it's not. I know that different crosses across the world are having various issues and all that, but that of Nigeria is really different. This is something that, God forbid, just a small spark. Look at everything that is happening. These guys, in the middle belt, Benue, Plateau states, Zamfara, Southern Kaduna, then it's a part of the southwest as well, Ogun State. It's crazy. People are just, right now, even walking around. You can't go too far before once you go right into the inner part of the country. Once you go off grid, that is like outside towns, getting towards the villages, you become more susceptible. Farmers can. That is why we have the cost of food is going up, because a lot of farmers are afraid to go out there. Where is the assurance? This is the reason why I said that the sort of security architecture that we share, we need a new security, to deal with a new security framework to deal with this, and it should be in collaborations with the citizens as well, because this is not just about sending the army alone. There are a lot of field column within the country. There are a lot of people, all the despicable criminals all over the place who are going around behaving as if they are. I don't know. A lot of people know this thing, but they're afraid to actually speak out because you don't know who is compromised. Now, like I said earlier, you know, um, the Fulanis are actually out there. They are now protesting. Let's look at the. I have a video here. So just want to.
So, guys, the streets of Uromi to protest after some kidnappers were allegedly killed and burnt by some angry
Wow.
mob. It has also been alleged that the kidnappers were Fulanis, and the protest was so dire that the governor of Edo State had to come down to restore peace in the city. Check it out.
I said earlier that I've never seen Fulani protesting in Nigeria. Well, it's honestly, if we don't deal, like they say, a stitch in time saves nine. If this situation is not arrested quickly, if we don't have a concerted effort that involves everybody, like seriously, this is not the one that they will tell people, "You just go about, don't worry, the police are dealing." No, it has gone past way past that. It has gone, it's gone way past that.
Police dey for even come outside for them.
Na soldier for come outside, soldier. No, if boys come outside, go too rough.
For our village, police no too near us.
Não, fica aí de subar from another person, I know.
Actually came around.
That policeman no board come outside now. Sit down, you're not pray. Alabaki, Alatini. I was a good one, But they're not supposed to. Now some people do now we stand now.
I hear from some of the comments right now. Look at that, we're talking about something crazy and saying some are talking about something. How was your
They all got that governor for there. Now there for stop. Daddy.
Let's see if I can put this forward a bit.
Okpeke is a very peaceful and happy place to live. Make everyone stay in Papa land now. Abi person fit try this kind of thing for their own land. So sad. May their soul rest in peace. This person made a lot of valid points. Like, first of all, yes, jungle justice is not acceptable,
No, it's not.
even if they were
No.
kidnappers, because sometimes someone could be falsely accused, and in the heat
That's one of the things I actually did mention earlier that, it's not really acceptable. Yes, it has been alleged that Fulani people predominantly, it's not just Fulani, it's not just Fulani people that are getting into this. There are so many, even people from, I mean, for instance, like the one happening in Edo State right now. It's not just Fulani people alone. You have other people. You have people who are from Edo State as well involved. You have, so this thing is not just the remit of just a particular tribe. So it's very easy to just say it's Fulani. It's not just Fulani alone. There have been instances where a man that, I think some years ago, maybe about 2 3 years ago, God saved that man. But the information he gave, he said the people that were there working alongside with the Fulani were also from Edo State. So you can imagine. So it's very easy to just demonize a whole group alone, you know. But at the same time, we should not just make sweeping statements and just say they are the only one. And because the government, if they do not deal with this situation, you have a situation whereby, people will start reacting. People are becoming I mean, from what I actually say, that unfortunately we didn't have matured people on the ground among the vigilantes. They could have just, all they could have done was just to make sure that, okay, they actually keep a lead on things, which is detaining them. And once they've actually detained them, then call the security services, hand them over to the police. But they themselves, apparently, that the way and manner the vigilantes were talking as well, like, oh, they must be kidnappers. Of course, people were passing by ahead kidnappers. Before you know it, they said, like, of course, those ones run outside there. I'm paraphrasing now. They must have gone out there shouting, hey, kidnapper, we got kidnappers. So these are people who have been, on the receiving end of the kidnappers. So they came and immediately they took, they took the law into their hand. Jungle just, what do you want to call it? Mob action, more like it. Jungle justice, and they killed those people. So, and there was no way they could verify that if truly, even if those people were kidnappers, do they deserve to die like that? No. I've always been against vigilantism or mob action. Let's put it that way. Because, God forbid, may none of our family members ever be at the receiving end. Nobody will want any themselves or any members of their family to be at the receiving end. That is an injustice. Two wrong do not make it right. And this is where all the constitutional framework in the country, legislative must work. That means that the police must work as policemen effectively, not taking bribes or anything. That is why when you have the army, they are doing exactly what they need to do without just brutalizing civilians. So, and whenever that judges, they dispense judgment without fear or favor. All Nigerians are treated equal. So if you are guilty, you are guilty. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you are up there, you are down there, middle way, wherever. If we don't have these things, these checks and balance in place, we're going to be seeing a lot more of what actually took place in Edo State. That's just a fact. Because people, I'm sure there will be some people who will be like, let's call the police. But when the police will free them. We've had stuff like this in the past, you know. So let me just leave it there. It's quite. It's not a good thing to, it's not a good thing to actually watch. It's unfortunate. May their soul rest in peace. If indeed they are guilty, well, they will have judgment. Well, if not, God should have mercy. But it's totally wrong. Everywhere where there's mob action, it must be discouraged. Must never be allowed. It's a place where there's a breakdown of law and order that you have things like this. It's not rocket science. So let's move straight to the United States. So the story that I want to talk about, which is a bit more on the lighter side than the heavy kidnapping stuff that we're talking about. If you have ever had to watch, if you have ever watched Disney movies, you know how it is. It's always about the prince. You're talking about the prince and the princess. Getting, meeting up, and then getting to know each other. So if you look at if you've ever watched any of the I think Snow White, by Disney, you will know exactly that, how it is, in terms of boy meet girl, fall in love, about love stories, meant for young hearts, meant for kids. So now you now have a situation, fast forward 2025, where we now have woke ideology. So in case you want to find out what woke is, those are those who are we are referred to as extreme liberals. It's the new way of thinking where everything that is conservative is being attacked. Where to the extreme. If you want to have a look, go and check on Google it. Wokeism. Just know that what it actually defines or what it actually works. What it actually says that if you say what is woke, okay, you know what? Let me see how ChatGPT actually described woke. So I'll put it this way: what is woke? What is woke? What is woke? What is wokeness? So the world is going through. There is an ideological war going ahead right now. It says wokeness originally referred to being aware of social injustice, particularly issues of racism and equality. The terms come from African American Vernacular English, AAVE, where woke meant being socially and politically conscious. Let me put it this way: in the UK, we refer to it as PC. So that is being politically correct. Over time, its meaning has evolved and becoming more politically charged. Some use wokeness positively to describe social awareness activism. So, anyway, so I'll just leave it as that. So, what it is that you have the main actress has actually played the part of Snow White, okay, and she has become toxic. Most Disney movies are always, you know, they've always been, box office success. Unfortunately, in recent times, people are beginning to draw back from wokeness, which is that when everybody will be like, we can all be equal. Yeah, look, we know that, but then instead of attacking anything that's conservative, they're like, oh no, 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 leave that. That the Bible is, forget about the Bible. The Bible is outdated. We are the new, now we know better than God. That is what it is. So in this movie, let me just share this link with you because in the movie, so apparently, I don't know how it actually happened, but the actress that is there, she's 23 years old. She basically had a lot of rights, or should I say, she made a lot of input, and most people don't want things that are meant for children. Even adults, I watch some of some of it that I do like. Yeah, I do watch. Sometimes I do look at cartoons. So it's not extreme cartoons, but there are some cartoons that has like they are like adult cartoons, where adults can watch them. So if you talk about SpongeBob, you know that there's a lot of things that actually goes into it that adults even enjoy it as well. So this actress Rachel Ziegler. So it says woke Rachel Ziegler made new career moving after emulating Snow White box. So the issue is this, right? um Snow White now how can I put it? Snow White movie, the 2025 release, has not really done very well in the box office. It's not really done very well. It's really, really bad. And it's they are now blaming it on Rachel Ziegler, who is the main actress that plays Snow White. So I'm just looking at, I'm quoting from Daily Mail. So it says, woke Rachel Ziegler is turning the page after facing a firestorm of backlash over Disney Snow White reboot. The 23-year-old actress who led the beleaguered 270 million, it took them $270 million remake of the 1977 animated classic, has been at the center of controversy for months. From sparking outrage over her criticism of the original sexist, she referred to the original as sexist, romantic plotline to so she even refused to sing its signature ballad "Someday My Prince Will Come." Ziegler quickly became a lightning rod for online ire. She was also blamed by some fans for the wave of death threats reportedly directed at Israeli co-star Gal Gadot, further fueling the uproar. The She was also blamed by some. Okay, the drama peaked last weekend as Snow White underperformed with just 43 million in domestic sales, matched by scathing reviews from critics. Now, in what appears to be a pivot towards safer creative ground, West Side Story breakout, Ziegler is revisiting her musical roots with a new single cover of Who I Did Be from Shrek the Musical. She's quite young, she's 23, she's very pretty, she's very beautiful, but she has done a lot of damage. If you're supposed to be an actress, just they are paying you. If she wanted to do something, she could have just turned it down. But I found out that there's a lot of immaturity. you know there's a lot of immaturity in the way she has carried herself, and unfortunately our handlers or our staff have, I don't know, because usually, with this actress, they are like, once they've become popular, or they're now on top of their game, people can't tell them exactly what the truth is, how people are reacting. The fact of the matter is, she's not the producer. She's not the one bankrolling it. She was hired to come and, play the part, that she signed the contract. So she now used the platform to start talking about, political stuff, things that has nothing to do with the movie. This is supposed to be about Snow White. It's supposed to be clean. It's supposed to be about, love, as simplistic as it, even if it's conservative. That is not her business. If she didn't like the script, she could have just said, "Look, this is not what I believe in. I'm not going to do it." Not that you collect their money, you now went there and now you now start. There are things she was supposed to do. She started saying she can't do it. Then why did you sign up for it? So the point of me, making all this, this analysis is that I'm actually blaming the people involved. Unfortunately, Disney themselves, I think that's the reason she was able to actually get in the first place. They've become woke as well. And they've pandered, because for instance, we're talking about I think the 11 dwarfs, that they refused to use, people who had dwarf, they were like, no, that they were just going to use anybody. That's not the storyline. So that's the reason. Because if she had been vetted properly and they know that she does not believe, so I think as well, I really, I still blame Disney, because obviously they know what her stand is, and they know how volatile she could be, and she still did it, and they still allow her to do it. So they have themselves to blame. So why are they acting surprised? Because they should have actually, they would have read the right heart, or should have stopped her because she must have actually come out to them. Because before they will sign her, they will have given her the script to say, "Look, do you want to do this? Do you want to be, in this movie? you know so do you accept it?" Of course they will have known all of this. They will have profiled her, so they will know that, yes. But she's gone around and she's been saying all sort of woke stuff. The truth of the matter is that majority of people are conservative. Thank God, they are conservative and do not believe in wokeism. So because of that, now the movie has really done badly. The movie has really done badly. They've not that, look, they've not, let's put it this way, it's just really bad. Really, really bad. It's really bad. It's not been good. So there's a lot of pushback, when you're referring to wokeism in this time and age. I don't think I actually want to see the movie myself. I love most of Disney movies and stuff. They're really good. Of course, all fantasy and all that. But for kids, people just want to enjoy themselves. Not somebody coming down, then going around, bad mouthing and then talking about all sort of things. Well, that is unfortunately for Disney, or unfortunately for them, they knew. I'm pretty sure they knew what they were doing. I understand that the producer had to fly down. When they were doing the premiere, I can't remember exactly where they went to do they kind of put it low key because of what she's been saying. So it has become like a lighting rod. So because of that, most people just don't want to see it. Just don't want to see the movie. I'd love to go and watch this, but I'm not going as well. I don't think I want to see that they've tried to make it like into a new woke sort of, yeah, we are socially aware, right. Okay, good for you. So anyway, she's made that money. So it's Disney, they allowed it anyway, so they should stop complaining. So um right, I think the last thing I've got is so I want to talk about a story. It's about, I think this was on Twitter. I think this was on Twitter actually. Is it on Twitter or Instagram? Right. So what's happened is there's this lady. She actually posted online that it said a woman reveals what a man did to her on a date that made her decide to make it by fire by force. This is one of those few times that I will have brought in some ladies that will have been, to sort of co-host with me, so we could have talked more. I think I'm still going to repeat this, revisit this. It says, okay, let me just quickly share that. She went on a date. So let me just give you the summary. She went on a date, okay, and right, that's okay. When she went on this date, what really happened was, hmm, sorry, I need to. She went on a date, okay, and when she was going on this date, she told this guy that, look, I only have enough money just for me to come. I don't have enough money for me to get back, okay. And then when she got there and it was time, they had a good meal and all that, so it was time to leave. And so she invited the guy now. So the guy was like, let's lodge in an hotel, let's sleep here now. And she said, no, I'm sorry that she can't. And because of that, because she refused, the guy can't be bothered, just left her stranded. So now, okay, let's just read it, let's just go through it. So this is some of the reply. People were responding, say that's wicked. The experience is part of what shaped my mindset to make it by fire by force. I suffered. So let's read further down. I think there's still some. What happened? I don't know storyline. Okay. The woman has revealed the experience she had on a date that made her vow to make it in life. She revealed that she agreed to go on a date with a man years ago, but informed him she only had a transport fare to get to the venue, but not to go home. However, when she got there, the man wanted her to stay in a room with him. When she refused, she said he refused to give her transport fare back, leaving her to walk a long distance home. She narrated, yes, but this guy invited me on a date. I only had my fare, tea fare for going, and I told him I got there and he said we should lodge. I refused. He then left and refused to give me tea fare to go. My people, I trekked from Ikeja to Abule Egba. I cried for hours when I got home. For those who don't know the difference, is that it's a huge distance. Must have taken her hours. She added, that experience is part of what shaped my mindset to make it by fire by force. I suffered. Now, the thing that I will actually say is that, that is totally unacceptable. That guy was never that guy is not an what I would call a gentleman at all. The guy is somebody I refer to as predatory. Now, but this also has something to say about her herself. That means that, she herself You are going to meet a guy. That means that is not somebody she really knows very well. You are going to meet a guy. You don't have enough money to come back. But that means that you're leaving yourself, she already made herself vulnerable by agreeing to go and see a guy she doesn't really know like that. Okay, fine. It's not like in a private place, yes, you're getting to know him is on a date. But you could have just said no. There was no need for her to have gone on that date. Because that in itself that is the minus on our part. Why would you? I mean, for a lady, if there's any lady listening out there, you don't go out on a date with a guy when you don't have any money to take you back home. When you don't have, that means that you were depending on him. He promised you. What if the guy says, "Oh, okay, my wallet's inside your hotel. Yeah, come, let's go." So when you get there, and I will give you. He could have. If what if he had tricked her into going to the hotel? Something terrible could have happened. So she herself has, or she has some responsibility within this. She owns part of this. But like I said, it is not, you know, it's not entirely her fault, but she bears some responsibility. That guy is a despicable person. But the onus is on her to have ensured that she is safe. She should have made sure that she had money to go back so that if there's anything, any rubbish being, like in this case, that's what happened. The guy knew that she already told him. She told him already that, look, I'm going to come, but I don't have enough money. And you're like, oh, don't worry, come. So the guy was already planning that, okay, that would be a situation that he can take advantage of and used it against her. She tried. If there's some other women, they will have said, okay, all right, I will come there. If you come there, but don't come near me. Okay, I will lodge, but don't come near me. Of course, that's all BS. That is all BS. So for her to have actually gone in the first place is totally wrong. She made a bad judgment. A bad judgment. And this is one of the things about when you meet people on initially, a lot of, both men and women, really, in this case here, you will see that everybody they'll put their best foot forward. You should don't get, I've seen people, a lot of the ladies especially, even guys, like, oh, she's so beautiful, she's so dainty. Oh, wow, the guy, I thought that can handsome and everything. Guess what? Then you are not, I can't wait to see him. If you see, he knows how to cross his T and his I and the whatever. Then what happened? Then you now found out that this one is air honor. You know what air honor is? It's like, then you now found out that it was a talk. And the lady that you were saying that, oh, she's so beautiful. If you see the way she was, everything was shiny. You now found out that all she was is just showcase. On the inside, she's terrible. Her attitude sucks. She's a terrible person. She knows sense, nothing. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people like that, both men and women. So whenever you're actually coming together for the first time, you're meeting somebody, take your time, go on several dates. Always ensure that you are covered. Never depend. Never make it a sort of situation whereby you will need the assistant. The woman is more at a disadvantage than the man. So the woman should never have put herself in that situation at all. Thank God that she decided that, you can actually tell she's a distant person. Because if not, if you had thought about the distance, so you just say, maybe it's only just for this night. You know? So I'm just really happy that she's okay. And she has turned lemon into lemonade. Although she did say that, obviously she's doing very well now for herself. That's why she said she would. That was why she used that as a determinant. Some people will be like, I never want to talk to a man again. Man, no way. But I think she's owned it, and she's actually gone ahead to make. Seems like it. She didn't say expletively, that it looks as if that she's done very well for herself. Anyway, so well, that's it, folks. So from me, see you guys again tomorrow, and we'll be looking to bring in some more, news, some juicy news for you guys again. So I just want to say thank you for being with us, and then we'll see you tomorrow. Good night, and God bless.